Hey, wrestling fans. Welcome to the One Wing Wrestling Podcast, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bring you the best matches, world-class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Wing Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. I'm your host, Krishna, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Cutbush. Bill, how's it going?
I can't hear you at all. I'm trapped under 20 feet of snow.
Yeah, it came down out there. At the beginning of the day, it seemed okay, but obviously the storm hadn't hit yet, and then this afternoon it's like my windows were covered. I was like, wow, it really is hitting hard out there. So yeah, if you're out there, if you're in Toronto or the GTA or Ontario, wherever you're getting walloped, be careful out there, because we know in Toronto, if it rains, people can't drive. So I can't imagine what's happening out there right now.
Well, I mean, if you apparently if you own certain SUVs and pickup trucks, it means you can drive like a complete and utter maniac in the snow and forget the fact that there are actually other vehicles on the
Wait,
road.
you can't drive 120 right now?
For those of you who don't know, Krishna drives a Jeep.
Listen, I don't even drive. I don't even drive that fast when there's snow. It's a funny story. On Sunday, I was leaving my grandmother's house, and in front of the house there was like snow. So I'm like, all right, put my Jeep into four-wheel drive. I get out of there. The minute I hit any main street, no snow. I was like, really? Come on, man! I don't don't even get to use it. So yeah,
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. Well, having grown up in small town Ontario, I tend to laugh at Toronto drivers and their complete and utter inability to drive in the snow. But
Yeah,
just
yeah.
drive safe out there, people. Drive
Yeah,
safe.
exactly. It's funny. I was the other day. I realized my laptop no longer is holding a charge, so it doesn't matter. It just has to remain plugged in, which is fine. I mean, it's functional. Like, who cares? But like the back and forth and the hearing stuff and unhooking and hooking up and all this random stuff really gets annoying after a while. Where I'm actually considering this year, maybe like later on in the year, maybe investing in like just a desktop, like something I can shove under my desktop, but I'll shove under my desk, right, and have everything connected permanently, right? You know what I mean? And just not
Yeah.
worry about it. That's having to sign in, and yeah. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there because I'm like, I wonder if that was affecting the internet issues or whatever issues I was having recently, because it was just not. I have no idea what's wrong with this. I didn't know the laptop's not that old. It's like what, maybe 4 years old. And listen,
Mm,
I know PC Master Race. I understand that's like ancient right now,
yeah.
but it's good. It's good. It does the job. I mean, it's not like excessively loud, but it is annoying, and having the wires like, I hate clutter, and I feel like I live in it,
Right.
and like I'm always trying to, like, I'm the type of person who's like, okay, if I do this, I can hide cables here and no one's going to see the cables there. So I'm all about that stuff, and all I see are cables everywhere. So my mind is in a state of chaos right now
All
as
right.
well.
So if anyone has any good suggestions for Krishna and some new equipment that he can get and ways to get over
uh,
his cable OCD,
that is a bit of OCD. You're totally right.
yep. And that's okay. It's completely okay, man. I don't like cables everywhere either, but I'm kind of like a middle of the roader. I mean, I have some cables showing on various apparatus in the home, and I'm okay with that
Okay,
because who cares? The devices function.
they do function. I
You
don't
know,
know, it just bothers me. Anyways,
yeah, yeah.
we have a show that
Anyway.
we have to watch today, and we have some news to talk about too.
We do. And here on One Wing Wrestling on our Wednesday show, we are going to be looking at tonight's AEW Dynamite, and we're going to predict the show. We're going to review the show. Those of you who've been around for a while, par for the course. We do have a few news items to discuss tonight, but before we do that, just wanted to let you know we will be having our Smash Wrestling show later in this week because Krishna and I are going to go attend live at Smash
Mhm.
Wrestling in Toronto down at the Rec Room. There are, as far as I know, there's still tickets available to this event. So smashwrestling.com if anyone wants to come down. Hey, if you see a couple guys there that look suspiciously familiar like us, then by all means come up and say hi. Um, but we'll be having that show for you. We'll be doing our usual stuff next week. And believe me, if you like what you're hearing, if you have any inkling whatsoever, give us that 5-star review. Follow us on our social media. You know, Go to YouTube, give us the like, give us the subscribe. Anywhere you listen to us, it all helps us a lot. The more that happens, the more we're able to bring you the content that we can bring you. So, we truly, truly appreciate every one of you that listens to our material. So, anyway, with that, we do have some news to discuss today. So, why don't we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, after you and I talked about it, and maybe some other people like Dave Meltzer and various other, luminaries in the community that have far more impact than a couple of dudes in Toronto, the Fox reversed their stance on allowing the Briscoe. First of all, they're allowing Mark Briscoe on AEW television, and they're going to allow a tribute for Jay Briscoe on AEW television. Gee, what an about face. It only took Jay's death for them to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
Krishna's just
stupid.
shaking his head.
Still stupid. It's
So,
just dumb. It's still dumb. I just still dumb.
yeah, it's really, honestly, it's hard to believe. I mean, look, the silver lining, at least they did it. Right. And so
Yeah.
it is having an impact on tonight's show. So that's great. And I mean, tonight's show too is also Jay Briscoe's 39th birthday.
I know. I heard
Yep.
that too.
He
I was
would
like,
have turned
wow.
39 today. And
Sad.
there will be a tribute show, and AEW will be putting together the 3-hour tribute show. It will also be airing on their YouTube channel now.
Oh,
So yeah, it'll
that's
be
awesome.
following a Dynamite one night. So
Awesome.
it might even be next week's. I am not sure. Anyway, so Fox did reverse their stance. And Mark will be allowed on AEW TV going forward from now on, according to Dave Meltzer. It'd be really cool is if they're actually able to sign.
Yeah, and I think at this point that's most likely what's going to happen. Tony Khan's the type of person who, understands that this is regardless. It was these guys' livelihood, like the sport. So why wouldn't he? And and the rumors are he wanted to for a very long time.
Tony Khan's been pushing to get them on AEW forever.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's the one who pushed really hard recently too, and finally got the stuff cleared. I mean, credit to Tony Khan for just not letting this issue go.
Yeah.
All right. So that's great. It's good news. It's a little bit of good news that came out of a horrible, horrible event. So other news, unfortunately, Britt Baker has been injured. We do not know what the injury is. AEW officially on their Twitter channel reported that she's out of there was supposed to be a triple threat tonight, which we'll get to when we review the show. But she was supposed to be on that. She's been pulled from the match with an undisclosed injury.
Really, that's interesting because I'm trying to think back to her last matches, and when she could have got injured.
Her last match was the one against Saraya.
It was the tag match, right?
Yeah, the tag match.
Yeah. So yeah, I was trying to figure out like where she could have gotten injured. I mean, they did. I mean, Britt and Hater, they really did carry that match. So it could have been anything, right? And who knows? Maybe it's not even wrestling related. Maybe she like tripped or something like that and hurt herself. But yeah, hopefully Britt gets better. It's kind of sucks. Like the AEW women division, it's just not the same without the doctor. You know what I mean? So,
right. Well, I mean, if we could say Yuka Sakazaki and Hikaru just stepping up and taking over the women's division, then yeah, I'd be okay. And they can join with Riho. And we can have like, the real Japanese women's invasion. And then they can bring over the women. Oh, wait, we could just go watch Stardom. Never mind.
I think, well, I mean, if she's injured, that maybe she's just going to be out of the ring. But I mean, she can still be like the manager person on the side, being the full heel that she always is. But she's babyface now because they hate Saraya and thing. They're heels, so I guess they're faces now. Okay, well, cool, whatever.
Was it? I'm going to get it wrong. I was listening to someone this week. Was it Brian Alvarez? Was it Dave Meltzer? I forget who said it. So please forgive me, the person who said it. I cannot remember the source, but I heard this week that one of the problems Paige is having is that when she was big back in WWE, when she came up through NXT and stuff, and I thought about this too. I'm like, that's a really interesting point. Women's wrestling in general wasn't at the same level it's at now, right? It wasn't as good back then. So when she was wrestling Emma in NXT, these were amazing matches because at that time they were amazing matches. They weren't the kind of things that were going to stand that. I haven't gone back and watched them. That's really interesting that now that she's here and she's up against a quality of wrestler that is just so much better, she's going to have trouble keeping up.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's the case. And it was a very interesting point. I don't know if it like if she trains hard and stuff, of course she'll keep up. But well, maybe. I mean, I think that some people can only reach a certain level if they're only as good as they are. There is something to be said for that. But yeah, I just thought it was a very interesting comment on Saraya and the problems she may be facing getting into the AEW women's division. But anyway, so we do have a show. So why don't we get into the match lineup?
Cool.
So we might as well do that match first then. So she was removed from a three-way that involved Ruby Soho and Toni Storm and Britt Baker. Britt Baker's removed. So now we have a singles match, Ruby Soho taking on Toni Storm tonight.
Well, this should be a familiar match because Ruby and Toni worked at WWE together, so they should have chemistry here. Ruby is a really good wrestler, and we've seen better of Storm recently, so I'm hoping for a good match. I think this is going to be a good match. I think I'm glad Ruby's back on TV a lot more now. Kind of only took her face to get broken a little bit for her to get back on TV, but she's back on TV a lot more, which is great. Again, she was injured for a while, so I mean that doesn't count. But yeah, I think this match is gonna be pretty good. Because I'm looking at the lineup on here, and again, we're getting a pretty good like lineup for matches tonight, right? So it's gonna be kind of hard for me to even choose like match of the night, but this match out of all of them, I think it's gonna be good. But judging by all the matches on here, it may come in last out of all the matches. But
yeah, we have 6 matches again. So you're saying this will be 6 of 6.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be 6 out of 6.
Okay. I don't think you're wrong. But again, that to me is just the testament to the quality of like we've had ever since you and I like remember that week we just complained about AET like all elite talking, and it was for like, and that was after John Moxley made the comment, this isn't all elite talking, and like ever since he made that comment, all of a sudden we've been back to some really quality wrestling week after week after week, right? And I mean Ruby Soho versus Toni Storm, that's nothing to choke at. It looks good. Ruby Soho is great in the ring. Right? Toni Storm, when she wrestles a certain style, she's good. I just wish she would change her finisher and maybe add a couple more moves to her 5 moves of doom. I'd like to see a little more variety from her wrestling. But she's not as bad as she was a few months ago when I really was complaining about her. Because I've seen her strikes, especially, she's really picked it up. So I sincerely hope that we get a really good match out of these two. Another match that we've got coming up is JungleHOOK, Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Hook taking on Ethan Page and Matt Hardy of the Firm.
I would prefer Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy versus JungleHOOK. That would have been an awesome match to watch because they're so fun. They're so much fun. I mean, well, at least hopefully I can watch Isaiah Cassidy come out dancing to the Hardy Boys music. So funny. It's so good. What do I think about this match? Okay, so JungleHOOK's really over. Matt Hardy's doing well in this little group he's in. He's playing that he's pretending he's in, but he's really not in kind of the gimmick. This is going to be like JungleHOOK's going to win this match. There's no way the way they're not. It's going to be a pretty good showing. I feel like Matt Hardy is going to eat the pin for this one because of Ethan Page. Just shenanigans. I'm just hoping there aren't many shenanigans. I really hope that Ethan Page doesn't come out talking on the mic again because that got annoying a little bit. But based on the last 5 matches left, I'm looking at this list. My goodness, whew. This could actually be really good. Which no, the match is going to be good. But I'm thinking, is this going to be number 5 out of all the matches, right? Because I'm just looking at the lineup.
JungleHOOK versus Ethan Page and Matt Hardy. That'll be the 5th best match on the show.
So I'm gonna choose 5 for now.
I'm with you again. This is number 5 for me too. It's really hard. Like it's gonna be good. I mean, Ethan Page is good. I mean, we've said that about his wrestling before. He's a good wrestler, but he's not a great wrestler. He's good.
Correct.
So I'm just going to add that to the mix and say that will be what makes it 5th. And there could be shenanigans. So I'm going to say this will also be 5th. And I also agree with you. JungleHOOK will be getting the pin in this one.
Yeah.
This brings us to, we have Bryan Danielson taking on Brian Cage in the Battle of the Bryans.
The Bryans. Who's the best Brian?
Is it a Y or an I?
So this is going to land on the top 3. So there's 3 matches that I don't know which one's going to be match of the night, right? I love Brian Cage. I think he's such an underrated wrestler for what he does, like for such a big guy. I think he's really good. And well, Bryan Danielson, come on, man. Like he's so good. So I'm going to say that, this is going to come in. I'm looking at these matches. I'm going to slot this in at number Okay, I'm gonna slot this in at number 2.
Okay.
Out of the entire thing. But it can change. As I said, the top 3 can change. They're interchangeable.
Yep.
So I'm not concerned. I'm very curious which one's going to come out on top.
Yep. Well, no, and again, you and I are once again on the same
Oh,
wavelength.
okay.
I would put this one at number 2 as well. Because Bryan Danielson is Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like the elite. Don't bet against the guy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Brian Cage is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not so sure he's I almost called him Kazuchika Okada. Takeshita. I don't think he's Takeshita good or Bandito good, but he's really good, right?
But if you
He's
think about that, he is big like Takeshita, and big, well, obviously bigger, but I mean big like Takeshita. And he's got that kind of luchador kind of style sometimes, like Bandito. So I'm like, he's like a gigantic mixture of both of them, right? But you're right.
yes.
I don't think he's as skilled as Takeshita is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
so
it's
I don't
kind
know.
of like he's kind of like an elf magic user fighter in Dungeons and Dragons, right? He's not fully a fighter and he's not fully a magic user, but he can do a little of both.
Both, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
But Takeshita's like, full-blown fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it comes to the skills, he's got all the skills of the one class, right? So, yep. D&D analogy lost on 75% of our listener base, but that's okay. Okay, so next up, I never actually said who I thought was going to win this. Bryan
Hmm.
Danielson's going to win this match. Is
Yeah.
there any doubt that
Oh, there's
Bryan
no doubt. He has to fight the 60-minute
Exactly.
match. Yeah.
And then we're going to break this up with, the Guns and the Acclaimed are going to have a family mediation with Billy Gunn.
I really hope this doesn't go too long. Like, do we really need to eat up like 10 minutes of time just doing this thing? I don't know where they're going with this. I hope the House of Black just comes out and kills everybody. But I mean,
Please.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they're going
Mhm.
with this, right? So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't care about this at all. I honestly couldn't care less. I will be like staring at the screen with glazed eyes in all likelihood, going, why is this on my television screen? So anyway, I know I have no fun genes in my body, but that's okay, guys. I would just rather watch wrestling. I want to just enjoy wrestling. Chris Jericho would never let me in the Jericho Appreciation Society. So then we have, speaking of the Jericho Appreciation Society, we have Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara taking on Ricky Starks and Action Andretti.
So this one is going to be slotted in at my number 4 spot. I think that I love Sammy Guevara. This guy, this kid is so awesome, right? So is like, and the thing is like, could have Chris Jericho. Those two together are hilarious. Starks and Andretti, like I like them a lot, I really do. But I don't know, Starks just seems like he's playing the standard WWE good guy from like the 90s, right? There's nothing new to him. So that's what's kind of like letting me down because I like Ricky Starks, and when he was going up against Brian Cage, I thought he was so good, but I don't know if he's getting scripted or what's happening with him, right? Just hope he doesn't make another judgment call. But I mean, like, I again slated number 4. It's gonna
Yep.
be a good match, but number 4 is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Again, I can't disagree with you. 4.
Yeah.
I mean, what is this? We're agreeing on everything
I
tonight.
know.
And
How are
like,
we agreeing on this stuff?
I don't know. I agree with you about Ricky Starks. I mean, his promos, like I commented heavily on them a couple weeks ago. I'm just, man, I thought they were terrible.
Yeah.
I hate that Rock stuff, but I was not a Rock fan,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, so, and I know a lot of you are, and a lot of you love the Rock. And hey, I like Dwayne Johnson, and I like him in movies. I'm not a Rock fan. But anyway, this is not a podcast about why Bill does not like the Rock. So this match, Action Andretti, I like the guy. They need to do a little more, I think, to get him over.
Mm-hmm.
They got him, they really grabbed him in that first bit, but I
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen much from him other than he's having some decent matches.
Yeah, agreed.
It hasn't really gone beyond he's having some decent matches.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I think he needs to do a little bit more. I'd like to see him win this match tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a good feather in his cap. I love Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara together, the sex gods. So, they're
Do
going
you
to be
think
great.
Jericho eats the pin again?
No, I think he's going to pin Sammy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and because I think that'll be like Daniel Garcia being like, "What the hell, man? You got pinned too." Because I think
Yeah.
Sammy's only in the match because Garcia ate the loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that'll play into that in some way. Well,
Fair enough.
then we have Darby Allin taking on the House of Black's Buddy Matthews in a TNT Open Championship or Open Challenge
I'm
for
glad
the
this match
championship.
is on a TV. See, here's the problem. These last two, I'm so confused where to put them between the one and three, because I feel like one match is going to be the more emotional match of the night, and that's I'm kind of leaning towards giving that the number one spot, like calling that probably because both of those guys like who are going to be fighting that match are awesome. But Darby Allin versus Buddy Matthews, right? Like, Buddy Matthews is awesome,
Mm-hmm.
and Darby Allin, like this guy again, as we always say, throws him everything he has out there, right? So I'm just wondering what crazy spots they're gonna have where Darby tries to kill Matthews, and then Matthews kills Darby because this guy is like an assassin basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what? I'm gonna say that obviously this is gonna be an amazing match. I'm going to slot it in number three just because I think it's going to be the number three match out of the six. Just because I just don't see how the last match we're going to talk about is going to be anything other than like emotional and everyone's in it and stuff like that. I don't see how
Mm-hmm.
that comes out not being the number one match. So I'm going to slot this in number three.
Yeah, I'm again. Yes. No, Krishna and I did not get together and
Yeah,
compare
we did
notes
not
before this.
compare
I
notes.
agree with you completely. This is the number 3 match on the night.
Yeah,
I'm a little concerned about this match because we're
okay.
finally getting a member of the House of Black on Dynamite after like a huge hiatus. Is he seriously going to eat a pin?
But Bill, they've been on Elevation. Did you forget about
I
Elevation?
know it's like I feel like we're starting to get into a broken record with the House of
Yeah.
Black. They came back, they
Yeah.
killed people, and now where the hell are they?
My assumption is this match falls is going to end in a DQ, because the House of Back is they're going to kill Darby Allin. That's my assumption is what's going to happen. But they've
But
done
then
this already
they've
though.
done
Yeah, I
that.
know.
They've
I know.
already
I don't know.
killed Darby Allin. This is like, why? What's going
What are the
on?
chances of Buddy Matthews winning?
Not too shabby. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah,
I
right. I
mean,
mean, what's the chances?
Darby's, this is the kind of championship that can change hands quickly,
Mhm.
right? This doesn't have to be your world championship. This
No,
is like the TNT television championship that gets defended every week. Of
agreed.
course, he could drop the belt. In fact, I am going to state it right now. Darby Allin is going to lose to Buddy Matthews tonight because that's the only way this match makes sense. Is
Yeah,
if you put
fair
that
enough.
title on Buddy Matthews, because Lord knows the House of Black did not come back from their little hiatus to be shoved down to dark,
Mhm.
right? One of the most over entrances and one of the best entrances in all of professional wrestling. 3 of the best wrestlers they've got in the AEW roster, and they're just being
Yeah,
wasted.
again,
Wasted.
again.
So Buddy Matthews needs to win this match. If he doesn't win it, I'm really questioning why they even bother with the House of Black,
Yeah, agreed.
because they're doing
Yep.
nothing with them, and it's really disturbing. Anyway. And finally, we have Mark Briscoe in his AEW television debut, and in fact, any Briscoe AEW television
Hmm.
debut, taking on Jay Lethal.
Yeah, this is the match I was talking about. Like this has to be match of the night. I don't see it being anything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think after everything has happened, after what happened last week with them being blocked and everything like that, and now finally like I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Khan announces after the match that Mark's been signed. I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
surprised, right? But yeah, I just think the fans are just gonna be so into this match. Obviously, Mark Briscoe is winning. Jay Lethal's eating the pin, and I feel that this is a match where it's going to be like there aren't going to be any shenanigans. It's not going to be Jarrett and his
Mm-hmm.
cronies, right? Even though Jarrett obviously has history with the Briscoes, right? Because he was
Mm-hmm.
part of Impact or TNA or whatever you want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see that being an issue, but it's nice having him versus Jay Lethal, one of like the original Impact guys, right? So they've
OH.
known each other forever,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's a it's a nice touch. Give them the main event, like if you can, Tony, if you can give them the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hopefully. But yeah, there's no way this match will steal match of the night.
Yeah, I think they're going to open with the Darby Allin defense this time,
Yeah,
and they're going to
yeah,
close with this match.
they have to.
So yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah, Mark's winning. There's no doubt in my mind Mark's
100%.
winning. But Jay Lethal is a phenomenal wrestler. Mark Briscoe is a phenomenal wrestler. We're going to get a very interesting match. There's going to be a lot of hard hitting. There's going to be a lot of good wrestling. There's going to be a lot of tribute spots, I suspect, to Jay.
Yeah,
And I think that's the story right there. It's all the story you need in this match. Is this is a tribute to Jay by his brother and one of the people who knew him best.
I feel like, this if, and again, we're speculating here, but I mean, if he is signed to AEW, I feel like just he's a fan favorite immediately.
Mhm.
He's already a fan favorite, right?
Yep.
So you have him there. It's going to be tough, obviously, with him doing singles wrestling, but then you
Mhm.
have people he can wrestle, right? Or he can wrestle with as
Yep.
well, right? So I mean, like, I just looking at the way that Jay wrestled and stuff like that. Like I wouldn't mind seeing a Mox and Mark tag team, right? Because just
Mhm.
the way that just the hard hitting kind of thing, that's something Mox can do. I mean, Mox is, as much as I love Mox is no Jay Briscoe, right? Mox can't do some of the things that Jay did, right? So I have to obviously, say that. But I mean, like, I do hope that it ends with him being signed, and it honors his brother, and yeah, like I there's no way I could see anything. Like, again, if there's interference and all that stuff, then Tony Khan, you totally booked this incorrectly. But like, I don't
Unless
see
Jay
that.
just, or unless Mark just destroys all the interference easily, you know?
Then it may, yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, yeah, this is gonna be the match of the night.
Yeah, 100%. I can't disagree at all. So yeah. Here's some questions though about
Mhm.
tonight's Dynamite. Where's Kenny Omega?
So I was gonna ask you, where are the elites? Where are
Yeah,
my trios champions?
I know. I know. Like where are the trios champions? Where are the Lucha Brothers? Where's Pac? Um,
I don't know, and that's the thing. Like, we keep forgetting like how stacked this rock. Like,
mhm,
again, grateful to see these matches. Like,
mhm,
hey, Jungle Hook versus Matt Hardy and thing. Great, Ethan Page. You guys got TV time. The women's match, great. Ruby's back on TV. Like, I can't
mhm.
say no to any of these matches that we have tonight.
Yeah,
But
exactly. They're all good matches.
where are the other guys?
But where's the guys where's Konosuke Takeshita? Where's Pac? Where's where's like half the roster?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. I hope we get some good announcements for matches on Rampage this week involving some of said people because
yeah.
it would be very nice to see them. It's been a couple weeks now since the Takeshita match, and I'd really like to see some more Konosuke Takeshita,
Hmm.
please. Maybe Konosuke Takeshita versus Bandito. That would be great.
Or a storyline involving the elite.
Yeah, that would be kind of great too. Like actually booking a storyline with the elite and forgetting about storylines involving the acclaimed and having like why
I
is there no
know.
Kenny
I
Omega?
know. I
No Kenny
know.
Omega,
Why are
and
we
we have to
having?
watch a
Yeah, I
goddamn,
know.
like,
Oh
ooh,
my god.
family blah 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 with Billy Gunn, and it's just so stupid.
Well,
Like,
no MJF tonight so far.
so we think. Also, no John Moxley.
Yeah, but remember they're playing up the whole John Moxley got
Oh
knocked
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
No Hangman Page.
yeah. We're what the hell? No
Are we gonna
Hangman Page.
follow up on that win from last week or what? I'm going to imagine he probably gets an interview.
Or
Like we'll get a
interview.
backstage segment with him at some point.
Well, remember he said he has to apologize to some people and he has to make things right.
Right.
Maybe we get
So
a
where
backstage.
is that
Yeah, where is
happening? He
that?
drops that
Yeah,
last week. Where is that? Like, are we just
yeah.
going to see that going on in the background, or is this going to be on Dark Elevation
Oh God, I don't know.
or being the elite?
I don't know. I hope
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Anyway, well, let's see what happens. Hopefully, we get some announcements or some of these things happening because one of the biggest problems now with Dynamite and AEW is they have too many people. So, anyway, though,
Yeah,
let's not take away from the fact I am grateful we are getting 6 potentially solid
quality
wrestling
matches.
matches
Yeah,
tonight and one
yeah.
really ridiculous, pointless segment. So, anyway, shall we go watch this show?
We should. We should.
Okay, we'll do it. And as always, we will be back. And we are, in fact, back That was Dynamite. And it came to us tonight from Lexington, Kentucky, from the Rupp Arena on Jay Briscoe's 39th birthday. We start with Tony, Excalibur, and Taz on commentary, and Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara are already coming down to the ring. They couldn't even wait to start Judas. They needed to start this show 10 seconds before it actually started. Strange. Anyway, they're coming down. They're accompanied by Daniel Garcia and his leather pants. Sammy starts against Andretti. They have a great little lucha things exchange at the beginning. Sammy then offers him a handshake, but it's bait for a thrust kick. They just go back and forth some more after that, though, exchanging drop kicks. Andretti goes after Sammy outside with a tope suicida, but he hits Garcia instead, and this allows Sammy to nail a tope con hero on him. Sammy goes for the top rope Hurricane Rana, but Andretti lands on his feet, nails a standing Spanish fly for two. They both tag out. Get Jericho's and Starks exchanging blows until Starks hits a catapult onto the turnbuckle and then walks the ropes, which he takes so long doing that. It's like, someone has to plan against it, right? And Jericho had this look on his face, and all of a sudden, Sammy comes out of nowhere from the turnbuckle and lands an amazing flying cutter on Ricky for two and a holy shit chant. The Jericho Appreciation Society takes control now. They start to work over Starks in their corner, but they spend a little too much time showboating, and Starks counters Sammy's top rope move with his feet and is able to make the hot tag to Andretti, who goes to town, including hitting tope suicidas on both guys. There's a colliding crossbody, though, and both guys tag out. Starks nails the spear on Jericho, but Sammy breaks up the pin, but accidentally hits Jericho in the process. Though Jericho comes right back, rolls up Starks for two. Starks follows with a Liger bomb for two and tags Andretti. Andretti hits a Gamagiri off the ropes and tries for a split-legged moonsault, but Jericho got the knees up, tags Guevara, who nails Andretti with a jumping knee. Andretti counters the GTH with an Enziguri. He hits Guevara with a poison Rana and a hanging neck breaker for a huge near fall. Meanwhile, Starks hits the Rochambeau on Jericho on the floor, effectively eliminating him from the match. Andretti then caught Sammy's cutter attempt, but he stumbled into a bat shot from Garcia when behind Aubrey's back, and this allows Guevara to hit the GTH for the pin. What'd you think?
I think Sammy Guevara and Action Andretti stole this match. Like, these two guys, it was smart having them start the match. It was awesome. Like Ricky Starks in this match was nothing compared to those two guys, right? And Jericho's older, so he gets a pass. But these two guys, holy crap! Yeah, everyone was yelling at Sammy, "You suck, you suck." But by the end of the match, when they were chanting "Holy shit," yeah, Sammy Guevara is that damn good. So good. This match jumped from, I had put this match originally at like number 5 or 4. This match jumped up to my number 2 spot. I love this match. I love Sammy Guevara and him with Action
Number
Andretti. I
two.
jumped up right to number 2.
Wow.
I absolutely love this match. I thought it was fantastic. I had so much fun. This match was so much. This is the thing. It was so much fun. This match, right? Like the things that were happening, how fast paced it was. As I said, like, in any given day, like Ricky Starks is a good wrestler. Jericho's very, very good. But these two young guys, man, holy crap, they stole the show. So I hey, that whisper in the wind that Taz almost called it, and then he had to call it something else. John Morrison can learn from acting how to, even though he got cuts, like he landed on knees, he's at least hit that move, right? So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I put it as my number 2.
Cool. For me, still number 4. Good match though. I enjoyed it quite a bit. There were some really great moments in it. You're right, Action Andretti and Guevara, they're so good. They did do a few spots, and we know Krishna loves his spots. So I am not surprised this went to number 2. That cutter spot was just
Ooh,
outstanding.
ooh.
Great stuff. But for me, I also have to take into consideration there were 2 other people in the match.
Yeah,
Right.
it
And
was Jericho.
Jericho's Jericho. You're right. He gets a free pass for some of these because he is Chris Jericho, but that free pass doesn't mean this match gains a star rating due to the presence of Chris Jericho for me, right? Like, that's great. Jericho's in the match. And he really didn't do a whole
Yeah,
hell of a
he didn't.
lot in this
He let the
match at
other
all.
two fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
those other two just fought the entire
Ricky
time.
Starks, he was Ricky Starks, right? I mean, seriously, that walk on the rope. honestly. I'm glad though that they're nailing him out of it. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the second
Mm-hmm.
time I've seen him just
Yep.
totally taken out of this move. Like, thank God, because it is silly. So yeah, there was some really good stuff in this stuff, and then there was enough mediocre stuff in this match for me to go, this was a solid match. I would give this match somewhere in the neighborhood about 3.5 stars, 3.25. So good, but only good enough for fourth.
Fourth. Okay.
So yeah, I'd probably say 3.25. So yeah, fourth place, but still solid match. Enjoyed myself. We go on to a Jay Briscoe tribute video. They finally got to play something like this
Mm-hmm.
on the show. It some highlights of it. You know, it's Jay Briscoe saying that really emotional promo where it says, "ROH is how I feed my family." I showed him with his children in multiple shots. Right, you know, one of his daughters commenting on her daddy. Kevin Steen, Jay Lethal, the Bucks, Samoa Joe, all with the Briscoes. It ends with a snippet from their last promo when they won the ROH tag titles from FTR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was personally. I thought it was a really well done video. The stuff with his family was moving as hell. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, no. I thought the promo, or the tribute, I should say, tribute video, was excellent. I think it was classy. It highlighted what it didn't have to highlight his entire, like, um his wrestling career, I guess, because
Mm-hmm.
they kept saying that he was, like, such a great father to his kids, and they showed a lot of, like, scenes with him and his kids, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty cool. White Tony Khan. Yeah, I thought it did its job, um, and showing those stars, obviously, Kevin Steen,
Yeah.
Kevin Owens, and stuff like that,
Yes.
and stuff like that, like, just him being there. So yeah, no, it was a nice tribute. It was very
Mm-hmm.
well done.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. I
Mm.
I actually found the parts with his children hard to watch simply
Yeah,
because it was
yeah,
so emotional and so, fresh. Right. Um, then we get Darby Allin versus Buddy Matthews for the TNT Championship. Matthews comes out, and it sounds like they go to commercial.
they did because I watched him on picture-in-picture walkouts.
Yeah, okay. So he comes out. They show Darby Allin beating Brody King and Malachi Black, and they note that Matthews is the last member that he needs to beat. That's what the commentators, I guess, were saying that you couldn't hear because you were in picture in
Yeah,
picture.
yeah.
We got the extended version of Matthews' theme. He literally just sat in the corner for the entire commercial break then, with Julia Hart just standing there behind him with his music playing. Then Darby Allin comes out with Sting. They show footage from Noah last weekend. Darby's tag match with Sting and the Great Muta, noting Darby is not at 100%. He's got a taped up leg. Now at this point, I'm thinking, that sounds
Mm-hmm.
like an excuse. That sounds like hope.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews has half his face painted, similar to Darby Allin's actually. Matthews opens with a huge boot and smashes Darby around the outside. I mean, smashes him around the outside, then in the ring again until Allin catches his foot on the apron. Like, catches Matthews' foot on the apron and drops him. But Matthews catches the tope attempt and slams Darby multiple times into the apron, twice into the rail. The power bomb, though, is reversed, sending Matthews into the guardrail. Matthews, at when he had moved the ring apron skirt, and when Darby tries to get back in the ring, he pulls the ring apron skirt out from under Allin, and that hurts the injured leg. Matthews then delivers just an astonishingly dangerous looking meteor to Allin from the top rope, on the ring apron. Just looked killer. But Allin recovers and hits a stunner, knocking Matthews outside, where Darby hits him with a coffin drop from the top. The leg seems to be a bit of an issue for Darby. Matthews rolls Darby into the ring, though, and the lights go out. When they come back on, the House of Black is on the ramp, but Ortiz attacks them from the back with a kendo stick. Sting attacks them with the thing, and these two guys, man, like, the House of Black is no match for a 60-year-old man and Ortiz with a kendo stick, and they get beaten into the back. Meanwhile, Matthews hits a Liger bomb on Darby for two as the brawl goes up the ramp. Darby reverses an octopus attempt into a rear naked choke, wearing Matthews down to his knees. But Matthews finally gets to his feet and running cannonballs Darby into the far turnbuckle, giving Matthews control again. Matthews climbs the turnbuckle, but Darby catches him and gives him the ever devastating back rake, and many strikes. It ends with Matthews getting Darby on his shoulders, but Darby lands the poison Rana, knocking Matthews out of the ring, where Darby repeatedly smashes him into the rails. But Matthews rolls through Darby's follow-up crossbody for 2, but Darby immediately hits a crucifix bomb for another 2. Matthews gets the better of a strike series, hits a buckle bomb and a curb stomp for a near fall, but Darby reverses the pump handle for 2, hits a code red for another 2. He goes for the coffin drop, but Matthews catches him on the turnbuckle, goes for the superplex, but Darby reverses that into an avalanche scorpion death drop for a near fall, but then follows that up with yet another coffin drop, and 1, 2, 3. Darby Allin has destroyed the entire House of Black. All 3 members are now sent down permanently to AEW Dark Elevation.
So this match started out very well for me. Like I really was enjoying everything. Where it went haywire is when the lights went off, right? That's when the entire match changed. I couldn't get past the fact that the House of Black were such pushovers, right? And they got wrestled and beaten up to the back, and I was like, was that it? What was that all this was? Like, what was the purpose of that? What was, you may as well just have them run in. What was the purpose of all this, like, stuff where the lights have to go out and they have to, no, it's that felt so stupid. Like that, the whole, all I kept thinking throughout the entire match is, Malachi, why'd you come back? Why did you come back? Like, hopefully it wasn't for this, right? You should have just stayed away, right? This is such an insult to the House of Black. I couldn't get past it, and that's why this match landed on my number 4 spot. I just couldn't get past it. I was like, what was happening in the ring was great, but everything else surrounding this match was absolutely terrible until the end of the match. Like after the match actually finished, and I was like, oh, good, the match is done now. And then we got the video we'll talk about in a second. But I was like, what an absolute waste of the House of Black.
Yes, I had a similar reaction, as you could tell from my shall we say, biased commentary of recapping the match. Yeah, I had to separate the match itself because I had like a sick feeling in my stomach at the end of this one, just going, what the hell? Or like, if Buddy'd won the match, it would have been different.
Yeah.
But he did. He also lost the match. So Darby Allin has just run through the House of Black.
Yeah.
And I agree. In terms of booking, wretchedly terrible. But I had to look at the match itself. And if I look at the match itself and the way it built up and that kind of stuff, it wasn't bad. Right? It was a good match.
No, the match.
Buddy Matthews kicked ass in large parts of it, right? He smashed. I mean, he committed some wicked looking moves on Darby Allin, right? I was more impressed with what Buddy Matthews pulled off in some of those moves than I was with what Action Andretti and Sammy Guevara did, right? So for me, I was like, okay, and I really had to set aside the emotional part and just go, okay. From a sheer match standpoint, this was a better wrestling match to me than the other one. So it would rank 4th. Is that right? 4th? Am I missing it? No.
3rd, you mean?
3rd. Yes, it would rank 3rd.
Mine was 4th. Yeah.
Yours was 4th. Yes. For me, it ranks 3rd. Got sidetracked there in my head. Too much thinking of how the House of Black, I'll only ever see them on Elevation right now. And I'd like to sit down with Malachi and ask him, why did you come back?
Yeah.
What did Tony say to you? What's going on? Why do you guys continue to just be dudes with an entrance that do absolutely nothing except beat up jobbers on Dark Elevation? Why? Why are you guys like the whipping boys ladder for Darby freaking Allin? Look, as much as I like Darby Allin, he should not be running through the House of Black.
No.
There's just terrible booking. Terrible. How many more terribles do I need to put in a row booking? Yeah. Anyway.
I agree.
Okay.
And then Samoa Joe saved us.
Yes, Samoa Joe saves us. Tony comes to the ring first, though, and he goes over to a completely dead Darby Allin lying in the ring, and he goes, your win streak continues. You went to Noah. You've beaten all these people for the title. And it's like, do you really expect this dude to stand up and do an interview with you right now? He looks like he's dead. But then Samoa Joe saves us. He appears on the screen. He goes, Darby, you little dead boy. In kingdoms of old, criminals were punished by having their hand cut off. But in my kingdom, the kingdom of the one true king of TV, I'm coming to take everything from you. I understand you think that gold on your shoulder that you stole from me, it feels comfortable. But know this, I'm coming to take back what is mine. The king will not be usurped by a man like you. And Darby, you will learn winning that championship was the biggest mistake of your career. The king has spoken.
So Samoa Joe is so awesome. Like I was so upset, I was so pissed off of that match,
Mhm.
and what had happened at to the House of Black, and then when he showed up on screen, I was like, whoa, 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 what's going on right now?
Mhm.
And I listened because when Tony Schiavone walked into the ring, I was like, whatever, who cares? Like who
Yeah, I know.
cares, right? And then when Samoa Joe popped up, I'm like, oh my god, the king of television is back, right?
Yay. Yes.
And oh, his promo was so cool.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I thought this saved it for me,
Mhm.
saved whatever it is, because I'm hoping that Samoa Joe gets the belt back. That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah, I would also like to see
Yeah,
Samoa Joe get the belt. I have another feeling this will just be another stepping stone in the current building of Darby Allin, which, I'm
which would
fine
have,
with them building
yeah,
Darby Allin. I just don't want him built at the expense of the House of Black.
yeah,
Like, why did they go back to that whole series of matches that Malachi Black was literally so upset over the booking with? He literally left the company
yeah.
for a while. At least I'm assuming that's part of the reason he left the company. It seemed to be based on some of the stuff the guys were saying. He comes back, they have this whole new attitude with the House of Black, and we're back to Darby Allin running through that. I am so
Yeah,
confused. I
I don't know.
don't understand it at all. But anyway, Samoa Joe saved us. So,
Yeah,
yes. Then we get an Adam Cole promo. It's more or less just him recapping his
yeah.
comeback again. All his hard work and determination has paid off. He's not where he wants to be yet, but he's closer every night. He doesn't know when his in-ring return's going to be, but it's coming soon. That's it.
Yeah, Adam Cole's coming back as a babyface. I mean, that's really
Yep.
what this is, right?
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, good promo. I mean, I thought he'd be back. Well, we see him eventually,
Mhm.
but I guess this was the way of them telling us he's not ready yet. He's gonna be back soon. Or maybe them just trying to figure out, well, where do we put Adam Cole right now? What do
He's
we
caught in
do?
the traffic jam behind all
Yeah,
the other guys
yeah,
backstage going, so are we going to get on the show tonight or what?
yeah. Because I don't know anymore what they're doing anymore. But
They have too many
yeah,
guys, not enough TV time. That's what
yeah,
they're doing.
yeah,
And then when they do have great guys like the House of Black, they book them into oblivion.
yeah. I know. I
I'm
know.
sorry. It's going to take me a while to get over that one. I was not happy.
I hope that there is something that's going to be happening with House of Black soon. I just hope.
We
Like,
can hope. We
yeah.
can
All
hope.
right. Let's move on because I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I know, right? Then we get JungleHOOK taking on Ethan Page and Matt Hardy. And they start off with the Hardy's theme. Hardy comes out and Ethan Page cuts the music off. But Cassidy will not acknowledge to them that Ethan's music is better than Matt Hardy's. But Ethan has the mic again, but fortunately, he does not talk on it all through the match. So the team start off in a standoff. Hook and Page end up brawling outside until Jungle Boy stops the Ego's Edge attempt, but this allows Hardy to get the advantage on Perry and work him over for quite a while with Ethan Page with some fairly basic double team moves. Perry makes the hot tag soon enough. Hook hits a lariat and El Camino and a T-bone suplex to Page, tags Jungle Boy, but Page reverses their double team. Hook gets drilled into the apron by Matt Hardy, who tags in, hits the side effect on Perry. He sets up for the twist of fate, but Page demands to be tagged, so he does. Page goes for the twist of fate himself, but Jungle Boy reverses it into the snare trap. Page tries to crawl to the corner, but Hook pulls Hardy off the corner and Page taps out.
Yeah, this match, okay, it's not bad in any way, but it wasn't also the greatest match I was watching. So I actually had this at my number 5 rank for the night. It was just a good match to showcase some of the stuff that Jungle Boy can do, that I guess Hook can do. I mean, Hook didn't win it automatically, right? So he actually
Mm-hmm.
lasted a little more than a couple minutes. Um, uh, but this feud with Ethan Page, like who cares? Like
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan, take control of your contracts of your employees. You can't just sell them off to people. People can't just buy each other's contracts. Okay, it's so dumb, so dumb.
Yeah.
I would have preferred to see JungleHOOK versus, as I said earlier, Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy. I think that would have been a supremely better match than this, right? And it has nothing to do with Ethan Page. He wrestled to the best of his ability, but he's good.
Yes.
And a lot of these guys in the ring are a lot better than him, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I said this match was not terrible in any way. I just personally didn't really care for it. I thought it was going to be a lot better. I thought that him getting tapped out was kind of like, oh, he got tapped out. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sure, right? So yeah, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't that great.
Yeah, 3 stars. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
It was fine for what it was. Um, the long beatdown segment was just kind of
yeah,
boring.
yeah.
I didn't really have much to say about it. Jungle Boy was just he did a couple moves, but he
Yeah,
wasn't like the
it's normal
amazing
self.
Jungle Boy we
Yeah,
knew he can be.
yeah.
Hook did some moves, that's fine. They do work well together, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get anything. This was almost my number 6 match, but for
Ooh,
one small event.
okay,
So yes, almost my number 6. It was my number 6 right up to that one small event. So,
okay.
yep. Then we have the Guns and Acclaimed Family Therapy. It's a pre-recorded segment.
Yep.
There's some woman sitting between them who
I
introduces the segment and then just sits there. Who the hell was she? I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know. Yeah.
No one knows because she did nothing. Well, here's my recap. The Guns are entitled spoiled brats. Billy was on the road a lot and ditched his kids. Bowens thinks the Guns are pieces of shit because they turned on their father due to jealousy. Max Caster has no sympathy because the Guns want to be the Acclaim because Max Caster is apparently a 16-year-old boy in his head. But the Guns helped them when Bowens was in a wheelchair and Max called them ass boys, which the Guns make a good point there.
Mm-hmm.
But Billy thinks the Guns took the easy way out and the Guns think their failures represent Billy's failure as a father. And then Billy's like, what would make you happy? And he says, well, the belts, we want them. And
And
that's the end of the
that's it.
segment. So they did this elaborate bullshit to set up a tag team title match.
I guess, yeah. It's it's funny because the Guns, everything like every time they said something, I was like, yeah, you know what? They're not wrong. They actually saying they're speaking the truth here. The
Mm-hmm.
claims is this came off as children, and at the end of it, it was like, okay, so it's a tag match. So are they gonna? So they're getting it, I guess. And I'm like, okay, that's all this was for, setting up a tag
Yeah.
match. I'm like, okay,
Do you
all
remember
right.
when AEW had the best tag team division in all of wrestling for a while?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that tag
They have
division?
wrestlers
They
who can
do.
do it, yeah,
They
but they
do.
just
They do. They don't seem to wrestle very often.
no,
No.
no, they don't.
Because we seem to get this as our tag team division right now. And I really just felt like I was sitting in WWE. I'm like, okay, family therapy. Didn't we do this with Kane and Bryan Danielson? I'm sorry, at that point, Daniel Bryan once a long time,
Yeah, I
or as
believe so. Yeah.
Danhausen calls him, Daniel Bryan Danielson.
Oh, Danhausen, thank you very
Uh,
much.
yes, it's
Ryan
pretty awesome.
Daniel,
Daniel Bryan
Daniel
Danielson.
Bryan, Daniel Bryan Danielson.
Oh, anyway. So then we have Hangman in the back with Renee Paquette. And Renee calls him out on his vague response of what was next last week. And Paige says, I don't want to answer personal stuff, but I'll talk about wrestling. So the more I look forward, the more I look back to Ohio where this started. And next week we're in Dayton. So next week I want to do the impossible and knock out Mox in Ohio. So Wheeler Yuta comes in. He's like, are you crazy? John accepts. And then he challenges Hangman, and Hangman asks why he thinks what happened to John won't happen to him too. And they're going to fight on Rampage.
Yeah, so Yuta's gonna lose, I guess. Um, no, I mean this is Hangman being Hangman. Hangman, I like Hangman a lot. So the fact where he wants to knock Mox out, which I'm assuming he's gonna send Mox to vacation, is my assumption. I love when he said to Tito, like, why do you think what happened to Mox isn't gonna happen
Yeah,
to you? And I
it
was
was
like,
a good line.
yes, that was awesome. Like
Yeah.
he's right. Yeah, I mean, I want to see Mox and Hangman go at it again. Like that should be an interesting. It's a rubber match, I guess they're calling it. But yeah, no, this is good. Nice little segment. I love how Renee, like when he's like, wants to knock, like he wants to knock out Mox. I'm like, Renee doesn't really react to these things, right? She's like, but like it is what it is, right? So I love having like watching Hangman. I guess it's on Dynamite next week,
Yep.
and yeah,
Apparently,
yeah,
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 when
yeah.
it's in Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Yeah,
home
no,
state.
that's fine. That's
Yep.
fine.
Exactly. I was fine with this. Wheeler Yuta versus Hangman. I'm looking forward to that too. Be a good
Yeah.
match.
Yep.
So then we get Bryan Danielson taking on Brian Cage. Cage is under orders to break Danielson's arm, they remind us.
Yep.
So they go back and forth a bit to start. Danielson chops and kicks Cage, but Cage just throws him off. Danielson gets a crucifix for 2, and he goes for the hammer and amber elbows. Cage tries to reverse, but Danielson locks in the label lock early, but Cage gets to the ropes. Danielson follows with a sliding drop kick through the ropes and a tope suicida. He then climbs to the top and hits a crossbody to Cage on the floor. Back in the ring, he goes off the top, but Cage dodges and press slams Danielson into a turnbuckle. That just looked wicked.
Mm-hmm.
German suplex too, where Danielson lands hard on his arm, sending Danielson to the apron. And now our story begins because Danielson has hurt his arm. And where Cage then hits a hammerlock side slam on the apron, targeting the arm again, Danielson falling to the floor. Cage beats him down around the outside, continuing to target the arm. Back in the ring, he keeps going for the arm. Arm breakers, twists, a standing Kimura. Danielson headbutts his way out of the Kimura, throws the yes kicks, but Danielson fails on the hammer throw because of his arm. He goes for the running flip in the corner, but Cage catches him and gives him a shoulder breaker. He then deadlifts suplexes Danielson in from the apron to the ring, then does the same on the other side with a German suplex. He sets Danielson up on the turnbuckle, but Danielson blocks the powerbomb attempt, hits a running drop kick to Cage on the turnbuckle, leading to a superplex and the yes kicks for 2. He has trouble with the head stomps, though, because of his arm. He tries to lock it on. Arm's hurt, goes for 2 of them, gives it up, and transitions instead into a triangle, but Cage rolls out. Danielson gets an ankle lock on him and then a German, but Cage springs up to land a strike exchange with him that ends in Danielson being buckle bombed and then a power bomb. But Danielson reverses the next power bomb attempt into a roll up and catches Cage for the 3. Before we get to the aftermatch stuff, what did you think of the match itself?
No, this match was great. I mean, it really played up Cage's strength against Danielson's like wrestling ability, and like how like when Danielson was getting thrown around, you're kind of like, okay, well, how is he going to take the big guy down? Like what does he have to do? So I do like the reversals. I do like how he was trying to like put like submissions onto Cage and stuff like that. But Cage again just throwing him around the ring, like those suplexes from outside the ring back inside. I'm like, he's so strong, catching him when he's jumping at him and like pressing him. So he's so impressive, this Brian Cage, right?
Yep.
And he sells very well. Like he's very good at selling too. So yeah, I thought this match was great. It just obviously landed in my number 3 spot. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, out of the Danielson matches, this gauntlet he's been running, not the best, but that's not saying much, right? Because I mean, like Danielson's matches so far have been absolutely amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, Takeshita, Bandito, and Cage, I think it kind of goes in that order: Takeshita, Bandito, and Cage, right?
Yeah.
For me, so great match, but not my favorite match out of his matches so far. So yeah, he continues the gauntlet, and I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Yeah, me too. It's a great match, and seriously, people need to watch Bryan Danielson sell the arm in this match.
Yes,
everything he did was altered because of the arm. He couldn't even land head stomps.
Yep.
You know, I loved it. He picked it up and he's like testing the arm, grabs him for 2, and then he has to let go because he's like, I can't do this. Transitions into something else, right? Going for kicks, just constant kicks, right? It was clear he's fighting with one arm. Couldn't do a hammer throw. You know, this is how, like, that should be the video shown to anybody learning to sell a body part. It's like, watch this video. This guy, this is the guy they named the technical award after. Okay. Do that. Just do that. I agree with you though on the match. Not my favorite of the 3. Well, it's I put them in the same order you do. Takeshita, Bandito,
yes,
and this guy, Brian Cage. Yes. And it's about 3.75 stars, I'd say. Solid match, really good selling, decent work over the body part storyline in it. Liked it a lot. So yeah, good match. And my number 2 match of the night as well. So then Cage attacks him after the match, targeting his arm some more because, you know, he's been paid to break his arm. MJF then comes down to the ring. The crowd cheers. I sigh. He starts shoving around the ringside staff. He gets a chair. He has Cage put Danielson's arm in a chair. And he throws the arm into the ring post wrapped in the chair. MJF then starts to beat on Danielson in the ring. Why is the Blackpool Combat Club not coming? This is what's going through my head. I'm like, holy crap. They're beating the living hell out of Danielson, like going for their injury. We know Wheeler Yuta is backstage. Is Wheeler
Yeah.
Yuta scared of Brian Cage? Like, what's
Maybe
going on? Why
Mox is
is
not
Yuta
there.
not coming
Mox is
out?
not there. I guess Yuta's like, should I
I'm
go out
literally
there?
typing in block caps WTF when Konosuke Takeshita, because
Yeah.
he's a real man, runs out because he's awesome and gets rid of both of them, including a big jumping knee to Cage. Thank you, Konosuke Takeshita. You continue to prove why you're one of the greatest wrestlers on the face of the earth.
Well, he did say last week he was gonna have Bryan Danielson's back, right? So
Yes,
he did.
and he did. Unfortunately, the
Too
Blackpool
late.
Combat Club apparently does not. They were, I don't know, having tea in the back.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm like, why is Wheeler Yuta not helping him? Like, I don't know if Castagnoli was there or not. We know
Yeah.
Mox is out for the week. Okay. But Wheeler Yuta is back there.
He's back
He
there.
was literally in a segment a few minutes ago. Is he too busy trembling in fear from Hangman now or something? Like, I don't get it. I
Yeah, I
just
don't
don't
know.
get it. Does Bryan Danielson have no friends at all? Apparently, he
Does
has
not.
one, and his name is Konosuke Takeshita.
Takeshita.
So,
Yep.
yes. Anyway, goes to commercial, comes back. Renee's in the back with Danielson and the doctor now. He has a shoulder injury, a shoulder injury, but Danielson doesn't care. He then turns to the camera and he's like yelling, can he wrestle or not wrestle? Well, I can. I wrestled 60 goddamn minutes with a separated shoulder. Ain't nobody stopping me from wrestling. Max, you think there's some monster behind the mask? You want to know what I think is behind the mask? Fear. You're afraid of getting hurt. You're afraid of being exposed, and you're afraid I'm going to take the one thing you value most, the AEW championship. But when I do, Max, I'm not just going to expose you. I'm going to show the whole world that what's behind that mask is a fraud. And the person who should be and will be the AEW champion is Bryan Danielson. You are not stopping me ever again.
Yeah, that was awesome. Promo he cut because he makes it sound so real that you're like, okay, all right. Like, and remember, he said I wrestled a match for 60 minutes with a separated shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So so he's like, I love he's like, I'm gonna expose you for who you are, the fraud, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I like again. They need to just let Danielson talk more. Like Jesus Christ, the guy is
Yep.
so good on the mic. He's hyping this as much as he can. He's hyping
Yes.
this match. Like you can tell, like people are excited for Danielson to go 60 minutes. I don't think they're excited for the other guy
Well, I
going
don't
60
know.
minutes.
That crowd loved them some MJF when he came. They were just cheering and cheering when MJF. It's like,
Yeah,
guys, guys,
I don't know. I just
guys.
I yeah, I could care less
No,
about that
I
about
just
him.
he's the worst champion AEW's ever had. Period.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he's
I can't
boring.
disagree. I can't
He's
disagree.
boring. It's not even like he's like a good bad guy. He's
Yeah,
just
boring.
boring.
Yep, I can't disagree with that.
Like
Um,
I'll take Le Champion back, you
Le
know?
Champion, yeah,
Yeah, I'll take him
it's
back. I'll take any of them back.
yeah, it kind of sucks because like we've had such great champions,
Hmm.
and MJF is so boring.
We're in like a real kind of title conundrum now. I mean, Darby Allin's put on some damn good matches as the
Yeah,
TNT
yes he has.
champion,
Yes he
you know?
has.
So I mean, that's been good, but the tag belts are non-existent.
Yeah, okay.
The championship's in the hands of a goofball.
The trios haven't even been defended since they won it.
Yeah, and we haven't even seen them come out with them or talk about them or anything. They won the
Yeah,
trios and then they have vanished
they
from the
disappeared.
face of AEW television.
They disappeared. Yeah,
Um, so what's going on?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're giving people like they're giving like other people a push because the Bucks had 7 matches. I
I
have
don't
no
know,
idea.
but I mean, so what? I mean, those were some of the greatest matches that AEW's
Yeah,
ever had on their
I
television.
I agree. I agree
So,
with you.
like, why can't they come on the TV? Why don't you just take your best people and put them on the TV?
Interesting.
I know.
The best people and put them on
Hmm.
TV, you say?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. You might be
Give
onto
me
something now.
give me Pac versus Konosuke
I
Takeshita.
know, yo, that would be an awesome match.
I know. Can you imagine? Okay, so I also love this Danielson promo.
Mhm.
He just phenomenal on the mic. It's so believable. It's so full of energy. You know this guy loves wrestling and he breathes it. So yeah, I was impressed. So then we get Ruby Soho taking on Tony Storm, and they noted that Britt Baker was injured on Dark. That may have
Oh,
happened during the commercial break, but they
okay.
did talk about her being injured on Dark this week.
Okay.
So that's where she got the injury. They still didn't say what the injury was, but she was injured on Dark. So Ruby cuts an insert promo stating that the women who started here are great and Tony needs to stop disrespecting them. So they're really going with this whole angle that was kind of accidentally started by Britt Baker of, the women of the original group of AEW
Mm-hmm.
versus the outsiders. So they exchange hard elbows early, but Storm drops Ruby with kicks, chokes her in the corner. Soho reverses the DDT, though, and drills her with repeated chops and elbows. But Storm hits a thumb to the eye and a hip attack that sends Ruby crashing to the floor, where Storm then smashes Soho all over the outside. Storm gets back in the ring and demands a count out, but Soho gets back in at 6. Storm lands more chops and elbows, throws her across the ring by her hair, stomps her down in the corner, chokes her in the corner on the ropes, and lands a solid snap suplex for 2. She locks in a seated full Nelson, and when Ruby tries to get to her feet out of it, Storm wrenches her back down. That looked like, ow,
Mm-hmm.
like twisted her going down. Ruby finally fights out, drills Storm headfirst into the buckle, 2 Saito suplexes. She goes for the destination unknown, but Storm rolls her up for 2. Ruby then hits the no future, but only gets 2. Soho goes to the top rope, but Storm moves. Ruby noticed her move, though, and follows up with a knee. So Storm then holds her nose as if her nose has been shattered again. And of course, it was a ruse, but Ruby bought it. Storm
Mm-hmm.
slams Soho into the lower rope, snap suplex, hip attack, and a lower rope DDT for a 2 count. She goes for the Storm Zero, but we all know that Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, hates lame pile drivers. So she hits her music. She's like, no, you're not hitting that move. She hits her music, and in a perfect WWE finish, Storm is distracted by the music that she simply cannot resist, stopping her whole match, staring at the stage. Oh my God, it's Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, standing on the stage, injured and can't compete. She's such a threat to me. I have to stare at her uncontrollably. And so Soho hits the destination unknown for 3.
Yeah. This match, again, this is my number 6. I mean, it's not like it was a terrible match. It was very, very WWE. Like, oh my God, like I can't believe that this music is playing, so I got to turn. Like I cheered for Britt when she showed up, but I mean, like that distraction cost her the entire match. Um, she lost, so it's not like it. I don't know what storyline is continuing here. So I thought Ruby was gonna lose, but Ruby got the win. Okay, so is Ruby siding with Britt, or is she just neutral to all this, or what's happening? Like, and then Sheeta didn't show up. They just talked about her. They're like, oh, because they made the comment, oh my God, but Sheeta's siding with the non-originals. And I'm like, is she though? Because she tossed in the kendo stick and she never really helped anybody. So yeah, very confusing. That's why I gave it the number 6 position, because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is the purpose of this? You may as well just have them just fight each other and not worry about continuing a storyline, because it confused everyone on what was happening, right? No Jamie Hayter, nothing was on here. So
They apparently booked the women's division by getting John Silver drunk and then having him write storylines.
John Silver would provide better storylines than this.
Well, that's why I said he had to be drunk. Right. Because, I mean, I think that's the only way you end up with what we get in the AEW women's division that pass for storylines.
I would rather watch a Dark Order segment than watch this nonsense that's happening right now.
The nonsense was bad, but look,
Yeah.
I'm going to say again, this is another match where I had to take the finish out of the equation.
Yeah.
Because the match up to there, Toni Storm put on a damn good match. Credit where it's due.
Yeah. Yeah, she's getting
She
better.
hit everything.
Yeah.
Everything looked great. Ruby Soho looked great. There was a decent little story in the match. Toni was acting up the heel. It was a lot of good heelish moves. She did the cockiness in the ring. She did it pretty well. Ruby Soho with her comebacks and stuff. I thought the match built up really well. They got to the point of the finisher. And then they had to do that absolutely ridiculous distraction finish, which took the match and plummeted it back down to the number 6 position, because it was beating the match that I've decided was in the 5 position. Right.
Yeah.
Because I thought the match itself up to the finish was better than The Ethan Page, Matt
Ethan
Hardy,
Page,
Jungle Boy Hook match. I
which
actually thought it was a better
you
match.
can argue that, yeah,
Yeah.
because I told you
Yeah.
the Ethan Page match didn't really do much for me at all.
No, no, there's that long segment in the middle. And I even thought when they did like the bit of a resting thing during the commercial with this, the wrenching around with the full Nelson made it
Yeah,
still look good, right?
yeah,
Yeah. It was a slower submission segment, but they didn't make it look like they were just hanging out in the ring, right? There
yeah,
was a lot of
fair.
fighting. There was like the wrenching around. It was convincing. But then you see the problem with the difference is the finish in this match was actually part of the match. And the finish was
Yes,
terrible. So that
yes.
also becomes part of the match. So
Distraction finishes.
and
Distraction
it's not
finish.
just a distraction finish, it is the worst form of distraction
Yeah.
finish. Oh my god, it's music. What am I going to do? You know,
No.
someone's playing one of my opponent's musics. Like, why don't more people just do that then? If it's such a terrible thing, like if I'm wrestling a match, wouldn't I just always ask the guy who does the music, yeah, the minute you see me like down, here's $20. Just hit Jericho's music or something, right? Like just anybody's music.
So it's funny. On Raw, on the
Mhm.
trial of Sami Zayn,
Yeah.
they were showing his defense, and one of the things was the Usos were in a match, and then someone's music hits, and the person in the ring got distracted, and then the Usos got the win, and then they shoot to the back of where the truck is,
Hmm.
the production truck, and it's Sami Zayn telling the person to press play quickly. So clearly he knew what was
See,
how
Sami
wrestlers are.
Zayn's got it down. That's why he's in WWE. He gets it. He
He gets
understands how
it.
to win matches there by pressing play on a music track.
So clearly, well, I mean, in Tony Storm's defense
Hmm.
here, she was in WWE, so that's what she's used to,
You know,
right?
that's very true. They oh, wait a second. This might be some of the most brilliant booking ever. The AEW originals know the secrets of how to
The
win
secrets.
over WWE
That's
opponents.
it.
They have a weakness. It's music.
It's music. Yeah,
Right. It's like their kryptonite. So if the AEW people just always have their music ready, they're gonna win every
yeah,
match.
yeah. There you go.
That's pretty great. That's pretty
Problem
great.
solved.
I
There you
didn't think
go.
of that. Yeah. So no, I'm all over this booking. This was the match of the night now. So yeah. Anyway, well, MJF had to open his mouth. So we go backstage, and he really did say the following things. I'm not the first Jew that had to hide from a man with blue eyes.
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, really? You guys are
So
going there, eh?
you're
All right.
calling Bryan Danielson just because he has blue eyes a Nazi. Good one, MJF. Good one. As a blue-eyed man myself, I don't like that. And he says, I still think Take a Shitta is freaking hilarious, but I can't force the fans to have taste.
He really tried to push that, and no one reacted to it.
Yeah. You think it's a good idea to dance with the devil, but you can't keep up with my tempo, so stay out of my business. He was directing that to Takeshita. Then he says, and Danielson, you're going to keep marching because you're so brave. You're a hero. That's what the fans think. But I know you're obsessed, just like I am, with my terribly designed belt. I'm pretty sure he said that. The belt stands for all my hard work and sins. It makes me better than you, and you know it. It's the only thing in my life that makes me feel whole. Don't you have enough? Family, Hall of Fame career, and mentioned a couple other things. Bryan Danielson clearly has many accomplishments. MJF will never have. But no, you want to take that away from Max. But bad things happen to people who mess with MJF. I knocked out a British guy who looks like Ellen DeGeneres on meth. But you want to take my belt. On next week's Dynamite, I made a call to a man who likes to scientifically dismantle people limb from limb. Timothy Thatcher will be facing Bryan Danielson next week. Now, he is a brutal technical wrestler who specializes in arm bars. And for a quick rundown, he's worked internationally for numerous notable promotions, including MLW, PWG, Progress, Rev Pro, Preston City Wrestling, WXW, CZW. He was in NXT from 2022 or 2020 to 2022. He got released on January 5th when he went to Pro Wrestling Noah. So the dude's been around, and he is a very good technical
Mhm.
wrestler.
Yeah, when they announced the name, I was kind of when he was like, roll the clip, and then they roll. I was like, who the heck is this guy? And Excalibur did say he's like one of the most dangerous men in Noah. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. Um, it's one of those things where you're like, maybe this should have been his first opponent, kind of thing. So, but I'm like, okay, I guess maybe the arm is injured, so maybe they're gonna put on like a technical match next week, right?
Mhm.
So maybe that's what it is. But yeah, okay. I'm like, okay, sure, what it's
Right.
fine.
Um, Does AEW not have any good technical wrestlers who don't happen to be doing anything and just appearing on Dark Elevation and stuff that could come and have a really good match with them? I mean, was it necessary to bring a, let's face it, relative unknown
I
unless
know.
you were like some NXT
It's true.
diehard, relative unknown. I mean, indie circuit got lots of cred. He's a good wrestler. I've seen him wrestle. Um, I'm gonna look forward to the match. I think it's gonna be a hell of a match.
Mm.
But I don't know. I think I'm hammering pretty hard on AEW booking right now because like the House of Black thing really soured me. And so I'm like looking at
Yes,
all the booking with extra cynical lenses right now, going, was there no one in the back? No one at all
terrible.
who could
Yeah,
have
it's
had
terrible.
this match? Jay Lethal? I
Yeah,
mean, couldn't we get a Jay Lethal Bryan Danielson match? That would have been pretty great.
that would have been awesome.
Yeah. I mean, he's a bad guy, right? So pay him some money. I don't know. Like, there's got to be more guys in the back. I'd say Malachi Black, but then, he'd have to beat Malachi Black. And, well, of course, that would just be par for the course in AEW, right?
Yep,
I
definitely.
mean, if Darby Allin can beat him, Bryan Danielson certainly can. So, he's not really that big a threat. Yeah, there's got to be somebody in the back that could have taken this spot.
I'm just thinking, like technical wrestler wise,
Mm-hmm.
who could
I
have
know
taken him?
long periods of silence.
Wow, I'm just thinking.
I don't know. We'll have to give that one some more thought.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I don't mind this match, but I just think it could have been someone else.
Yeah, yeah.
And what'd you think of MJF's promo?
I again, it's just bargain basement WWE heel promo. Like nothing special anymore. It's not like he's cutting truths, stuff like that. I mean, he insulted William Regal. Who cares? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think everyone's over the William Regal thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I just didn't
Yep.
care for it.
And he's still aiming for like completely lowbrow insults.
Yeah,
Yeah, good
yeah.
job, guy. Good job. You keep doing that. You keep doing that. That's some really quality stuff there. I'm sure Triple H will love it when you bring that to WWE in 2024. So enjoy. Um, at least he's not mentioning the bidding war of
Yeah,
2024.
yeah,
So yeah, many weeks now he hasn't even mentioned it once. So yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah, I hated the promo. It was pretty bad. And you listen to Danielson, and Danielson sounds passionate and real,
mhm.
right? You listen to Mox cut promos, passionate, real, right? You even listen to someone like Jay Lethal. At least his promos make sense with who he
Yeah,
is and how his character is portrayed,
that's
you
true.
know? But
Very true.
MJF is trying too hard to be champion heel.
Yeah,
And I hate to tell him, he's not top bill champion material, at least not in my book. Obviously, the crowd still love him. They cheer him constantly. So maybe I just have no idea what I'm talking about. But I also know what I like. And MJF does not qualify.
fair enough.
Well, then we get the final match, the main event, Mark Briscoe taking on Jay Lethal. And we get Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman joining the commentary team, replacing Taz and Tony. Mark comes out with both tag titles. Now, they went to commercial break between Jay and Mark, and I
Mhm.
didn't see what was going on in the ring either, but I got a sneaking feeling Jay must have addressed the crowd or spoken to the crowd because when they came back, Jay's eyes were red as hell and full of tears. Um, and he wasn't the only one in the audience either. They shook hands and you could see Jay's eyes were just a mess, and there were people in the crowd too that looked very emotional, unsurprisingly. They get into a wicked chop exchange though to start the match. Mark lays Jay out with a kick caprice, but Lethal comes back with the lethal combination. But Briscoe comes right back with a neck break. I love his neck breaker.
Mhm.
They fight some outside the ring. Lethal gets a rear naked choke on in the ring, seated drop kick. Lethal throws him in the corner, but Briscoe reverses and hits some redneck kung fu off the top rope,
Mhm.
followed by an uppercut and then an iconoclasm to Jay off the top rope. He goes for the Jay Driller, and this was kind of the story. He wanted to finish the match with the Jay Driller. But
Mhm.
Lethal fights out, lands the lethal combination for two, and then the lethal injection, but Mark rolls out. Lethal runs him, and they note how smart Mark is, one of the highest IQ wrestlers in the ROH
Yeah.
locker room, and he managed to roll out of the ring when he was nailed with Lethal's finisher. Lethal then, though, runs him into a rail. Briscoe gets back in the ring, hits a roundabout dropkick through the ropes. Like, what a move that is. And a running neckbreaker off the apron. He sets Lethal on the timekeeper table and nails the froggy bow, sending Lethal smashing through. I mean, it looked like Wow, ouch. No one smashes people through the table like a Briscoe. He gets Lethal in the ring, but only gets a 2 count. He goes for the J Driller, but Lethal reverses into a bridge for 2. Lethal then goes for the lethal injection, but Briscoe counters with 2 consecutive lariats, which allows him to finally hit the J Driller for 3 to a massive reaction, and the whole locker room is on the stage to end the
Mhm,
show.
mhm. Yeah, no, this match obviously match of the night. Like, Mark is such a good wrestler, and he's the younger Briscoe brother, right? So they make mention that he can carry this on, right? Um, Perfect opponent. Like Jay Lethal's so good. Like the lethal combination, Jesus, every single time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, this match was a very good showing, kind of showing the AEW fans who don't know, like this is what the Briscoes could have done, right?
Mhm.
Mark is so good in the ring, and from what I was watching this week, like Jay was like just he was awesome too, right? So great match of the night easily for me. A very emotional match too. You could tell even when it started, Jay Lethal was almost in tears,
Mhm.
holding it back and stuff like that. They they just kept mentioning, like, I was trying to figure out the move, yeah, that he was trying to do.
Mhm.
And then when he went off the rope and crashed through the table, I was like, holy crap, he
Yeah.
actually did that. My God. But yeah, no, everyone was on their feet. Great match, great crowd.
Mhm.
And nice little ending where the entire locker room emptied. Hey, you got to see the Bucks, they were there.
Yes.
It emptied, and he hugged, what's his face, Christopher Daniels first. Again, Christopher Daniels, Impact. And then Tony Khan ran out, and I was like, oh my God, they're gonna announce that he's all elite, and they didn't. But I guess, you know what, maybe not announce it now,
Mhm.
because like it is to honor Jay. So yeah, great match, great closing of the show. Yeah, my match of the night.
Yeah, mine too. I mean, it was exactly what it needed to be, right?
Yeah.
Really well wrestled match between two guys. I mean, Jay's brother and one of Jay's main opponents, right?
Hmm.
And just a guy he's wrestled with repeatedly and friends with. And yeah, it was exactly what it needed to be. It was emotional in all the right places. He got the win exactly like he needed to. They told the
Hmm.
story in the match of him, going to win the match with his brother's move, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what they needed to do, and they did it. So yeah, match of the night. I mean, there's not much more to say about it. It
Yeah.
was a well told, solidly wrestled, and man, Mark is an impressive wrestler, man. I
Hmm.
mean, Jay Lethal, we know, but I mean, I'm so glad they did this because it really showcases Mark Briscoe for the
Yeah.
AEW fan
Yeah.
too. And I
Yeah.
really, really hope he sticks around. I
Same.
really do.
Same. Same.
You
Yeah. He sticks around and doesn't get lost in the shuffle,
well, the
right?
Dark Order needs a new leader, right?
You know what though? I mean, he would probably be great on the Dark Order too, right? Because like they're all all great wrestlers, right?
Exactly.
So that would be kind of
Yeah.
funny.
But I think
Um,
giving him a good singles run to start off, though, would
oh
probably be
yeah,
the best thing to do.
definitely.
Yeah.
Like, have him go up against opponents that wanted to wrestle with him. Like, have him. You know what
Hmm.
I didn't see there? Mr. Kenny Omega wasn't there, and I was like,
Hmm.
what is going on? Is Kenny like on a little break or something like that? Like, just,
Maybe he's hurt.
uh, maybe he is, and they're not saying it,
Hmm.
right?
I mean, he
So
may also just be on a little break. He did wrestle an awful lot of like pretty hard matches, and I
yeah.
mean, he's not Will Ospreay who then gets back in the ring and just keeps charging at guys, right? But then again, to be fair, that's the beauty of New Japan. They
Yeah.
stick him in multi-man matches. But wait, they could be sticking him in trios matches where
Trios
the Bucks
matches.
carry part of the thing. So, pardon me while I completely contradict my own point. Where is Kenny Omega?
Yeah,
Besides
exactly.
besides shilling protein shakes on
I
online right
know.
now.
Yeah, Redcon won. So yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah. So no, great match, great closing to the show.
Mhm. Yep. No, absolutely. I really liked it. I would not call this an Omega level Dynamite.
No.
Not even close. In fact, I don't think any of the matches, for me at least, reached that Omega level. I mean, the emotion in the last match, I
Yeah,
would put at the Omega level, right? The match
exactly.
itself, very good, but I wouldn't
Hmm.
call it an Omega level
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, no, I mean it deservingly got the match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
But Omega level, maybe pushing it a bit.
Yeah, the emotion, the
Yeah.
emotion. I mean, it definitely exactly what it needed to be for what it was, and it's a very solid match. But yeah, other than that, I wouldn't say there was anything on the show that approached the Omega level. Certainly not Buddy Matthews getting beaten. Yes, I'm beating a dead horse. Okay, and certainly not music playing to end the women's match. And
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Tony. Anyway. Guys, we need some better booking. We really
Hmm.
do. Women's division needs better booking. Tag team division needs better booking. Trios titles need better booking now that someone actually has the belt and has vanished from television. Yeah, is that all the titles? Yeah, it's the only title left is the AEW Championship, but that gets talked about every week, but they put it on someone who
Doesn't
isn't
wrestle.
a great
Yeah.
champion. So
Yeah.
yeah, you guys got some work to do. You know where they don't have music playing distraction finishes? New Japan. Do you know where else they don't have new music playing distraction finishes? You know what I'm going to say because I have to mention at least once every
He's
podcast.
gonna say it.
Stardom. Never seen a
Yep.
music playing distraction finish in Stardom ever. So
Not
just
yet.
saying.
I mean, Sasha Banks might start that,
Oh, it's
right?
true. No, but they could beat her by doing that.
Oh, that's right. Because
If
she's
they're
from
smart.
WWE.
See, this is how Kyrie beats her. She's like, oh, Kyrie's been in WWE too, though. Oh my God, they could both be beaten with music finishes. It's
Yep.
like the ultimate weapon. Anyway. Okay, guys, I think we've probably beaten that horse long enough. Any final thoughts, Krishna?
No. Just a great tribute to them boys, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, just reach to the sky, boy. That's what the song kicks off with. So that's it.
Yep. Couldn't say more. Couldn't say more. I think that qualifies as both of our one phrase to summarize the evening. So with that, we will depart. And as the absent great one always says, goodbye, everybody. Mwah! And good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.